What's up, everybody? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are tuned in from. And if you haven't yet, let us know in the chat here in the live chat. And if you're watching later, let us know in the chat down below in the comments, where are you tuned in from? How far and wide are we tapping on your shoulders? Because this community is growing far and wide and fast. And I cannot believe that we hit that 9,000 mark in just about 7 months. Looking here right on the screen before we dive into anything else, look at that. We have eclipsed that 9,000 level. And so in today's stream, we're going to be giving away three-month memberships. One of them is going to be the BitLab Pro, which is the all access to the courses, as well as a premium Discord, the full premium Discord, as well as a BitLab Trading Stack. And then we're going to give away 2 more BitLab Trading Stack 3-month memberships as well. So this is just a thank you to all of you for participating and being in the community. And how do you participate? Well, you head over to, and you could do this right now as we're getting started. And I'm going to call this out again here in a little bit. Make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy Twitter page right here at Academy BitLab. Follow us here. Hit that retweet. Hit that like button. And you're going to be entered to win. I'm going to be drawing from Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Saturday was the stream with Mark Yusko. If you guys have not watched that yet, definitely give that a watch. That's right here on the BitLab Academy page. By the way, if you're watching anywhere else, shout out to everybody at Hit Network, everybody watching on that 24-hour stream, because we are simulcast over there. Make sure you head over to the BitLab Academy page here at youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Join us here. Become a member of our community. We've got a wonderful community. When you want some more alpha, we have all these. We have 2 daily streams, 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's going to be 10 a.m. Eastern time every day now, Monday through Friday, and also those live streams. Those interviews that we do on Saturdays periodically, and then 3 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday as well. And then, of course, you can scroll down here to this daily alpha section right here. And you can see this is the interview I'm talking about with Mark Yusko. This is a phenomenal interview. This was our best performing video we've had on this channel. Just came out, and it's a lot of really great information in here. We don't even look at charts. It's all about mindset and understanding Bitcoin, where we're at in the cycle, and how to not make the #1 most stupid mistake in crypto. And that's missing opportunities because you're scared, and also not taking opportunities because you're greedy. We talk about that, how to really break that down. So if you head over to the BitLab Academy page, make sure you're retweeting this post, and we're going to be drawing basically the 3 winners from the people that are, obviously participating here in the channel, but here on the Twitter retweeting this. This is where we're drawing the name from. So what are we talking about today? Seems like there's all kinds of things going on, but if this is your first time, I want to let you know, I can guarantee you this is not going to be your last time. My name's Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy daily stream. I love the opportunity to build this community and be a part of it with you. And I just wanted to let you all know how much I appreciate you all incredibly. Now, if you haven't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding the bell. Now let's talk about what we want to talk about. Binance, BNB. There's so much going on. So much going on right now with institutions on the horizon. What do I say on the horizon? Yes, there are some institutions that are involved, of course. But there's institutions on the horizon in droves because of the BlackRock Bitcoin spot ETF application. Yes, we have many other Bitcoin spot ETF applications out there as well, but none of them hold as much weight in the global financial markets as BlackRock. CEO Larry Fink saying Bitcoin is an international asset that will transcend fiat currencies. That is the most powerful statement. Coupled, the reason why it's so powerful, is because it's coming out of the mouth of the CEO of the largest asset manager in history on the planet. For months and months, so many months that it was actually years and years. Larry Fink called Bitcoin an index for money laundering. He called it, something he was not interested in. It was just, they're not doing anything with crypto. Now, what they've done, they've changed their tune because they see what happens with financial assets. One of the most important thing is building a timeline in history, building a credibility through consistency. There's been no issues with Bitcoin. There's been more transactions on Bitcoin last year than there were on MasterCard. So if anybody ever asks or makes a statement again that Bitcoin has no value, ask them if Facebook has value, or if Twitter has value, or if Instagram has value. Yes, they do. Why? Because they're networked. That's what Bitcoin is. It's a network of trustless computers. Trustless not being a bad word, being the best word you could ever want in money. Because I don't have to rely on trusting you that your ledger is correct. And you don't have to rely on trusting me that I'm keeping the same history as you. Oh, well, let's get a third person in here to be a third person that can verify. Well, that still requires trust because somebody can skew, basically can influence them to adjust their ledger to match yours or to match that one or this one. Trustless means all have to agree and it's transparent and nobody has to double check each other's work because they all automatically are double checked on the network. So the network itself has value. The computational power, think of how much computational power goes in to mining and securing the blocks on Bitcoin. And then that's one side of it. That's kind of somewhat the nerdy side, but necessary to know. Think about, is MasterCard worth any money? Well, yeah, because they handle all these transactions. Well, Bitcoin handles more transactions than MasterCard did last year. And it's only going to increase. So shout out to everybody here, every single one of you, because in some aspect, one way or another, you are involved with the digital asset ecosystem. You are involved because you're watching this channel. Even if you don't even hold any yet, you're already ahead of the curve of the 7 to 8 billion people. There's such a small percentage of us that have any awareness at all beyond just hearing somebody talk about it on the news. You are learning about it. You are part of the best. I mean, this is the best opportunity of our lifetime. And it's not just about transacting, exchange, and trade. No, this is about self-sovereignty, financial sovereignty, taking hold of something before the institutions have first access, and then you get the pieces. This is the first time, really one of the first times in history, that the mass populace of the world, and that means you, that means me, that means your mama. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about your mother. That means your neighbor. That means your Aunt Linda. It means your Uncle Larry. That means your little friend named Frog down the street. Everybody has access to this if they decide to take the step to do it before the institutions. And they're on the horizon. So we have one of the best times in history, probably the best time to date for Bitcoin. And the digital assets in terms of the altcoins are a little less so. Some people would argue more so because they could have faster gains, but there's still a huge amount of regulatory uncertainty. That's one of the things we're going to be talking about today with Cardano. And we also see this with the Algorand getting crushed. What happens if AVAX gets listed as a security? What happens if, HBAR or, any of these other coins that we all really like to trade? We also like to trade them because we see the potential of how small their market cap is comparatively with Bitcoin. And we'd like to fantasize and say, ooh, what if this goes to the same market cap as Bitcoin? It would be worth this much more. Well, first question is, what's the risk curve on that asset? And secondarily, how likely is it that there's going to be no hurdles along the way, especially with what we're seeing right now with Gary Gensler and the SEC and the lack of clarity. And there's still broad ignorance in the U.S. House of Representatives and Congress, but that tide is turning. So I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. I do think there's positive things coming to this market, and I can't wait. And guys, everybody, we're going to be jumping into these charts here in just a moment, but I just wanted to talk about that a little bit because regardless of where the price is right now, think about where it was. Think about what you were doing March 2020. March 2020, the world shut down. March 2020, the world shut down, but an incredible opportunity presented itself when equities sold off, when assets sold off, when risk went absolute risk off, meaning, we saw Bitcoin, trading in the 6,000 or 7,000s drop down to 3,000, gave us another opportunity to get near market cycle lows because there's mass fear out there. And what we got that V-shaped recovery, and then we progressed, from the mid 3,000s all the way up to where? Over $60,000. Now that was without the BlackRock Bitcoin spot ETF application and positive words and the starting and the shifting of tides in the minds and in the hearts and in the understanding. And even at the most minimum level, the change in the apparent curiosity at minimum for institutions worldwide. So what needs to happen for us to get up to $100,000? What needs to happen for Bitcoin to get to $200,000? What needs to happen for Bitcoin to get to $400,000? A huge, I'm talking astronomical amount of monetary energy. What do I mean by that? Well, retail was able to push us up to, 60, 70,000 with a little bit of on the side, just a little dabble from the institutions, banks, Tesla and Elon. And that was just, out of, if you separated, let's take a selection of 1,000 wallets, a very small percentage of those wallets would be institutional wallets or companies, right? The difference here, the tide shift here is that when we have the halving in April, and somewhere between now and then, who knows when it could be? Some people want to say it's going to be early 2024. But with what's been going on with our government here in the US, there's no telling what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. It could happen sometime in October. It could happen sometime in December. It could happen. I do think the probabilities lie somewhere in January to, mid-February sort of time frame, right at the beginning of the year, kicking off election cycle season. Sorry, kicking off the election cycle year, presidential election cycle year. That's coming up on all the deadlines for all these spot ETFs. And it's not just BlackRock, it's Valkyrie, it's GBTC. There's a list of about 12 or so, pretty major players out there that are all looking to get involved with Bitcoin spot ETFs. Now, what does this do? Why do we care about this when we're talking about institutions? Because this gives the institutions a meaningful way for money managers and small family offices, as well as large different investment brokerages, to say, okay, we're going to be allocating this amount. We recommend allocating this amount. It gives them the access point to include Bitcoin in the money management services that they're providing, as well as just to individual retail people to buy the spot ETF. Because let's be honest, the majority of people that I talk to and I see, especially whether it's in this channel or any channel, this channel is way above the rest of the crowd. You all are the cream of the crop. You all know what's going on, and I appreciate you for it. And if you don't, you're here to learn more, because there's some stuff I know, there's some stuff I don't know. But the point is, when these ETFs get approved, and we have the halving coming right about the same time, and we know what happens during the halving. I got some great charts to show you guys today. The point is, we're talking about that monetary energy needed for us to have those really just what feels like right now astronomical prices. In 10 years, we're going to look back at 200,000 on Bitcoin and say, oh, that was cute. Because, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens as Bitcoin takes on mass adoption, not just from the retail individual buyer and speculator, but when it becomes entrenched in the daily lives and the process of business and the process of trade and the process of holding it on your balance sheet as an institution. I cannot tell you how excited I am for the opportunity and that we're all here. So you know what? That's all we need to talk about right now. I wanted to just give you a little bit of my thoughts in terms of why I'm so excited. It doesn't matter which price is doing right now. We are on the horizon for the best moment in the capital side of our lives. So let's make this a capital W. Let's get that W. Let's get these profits. Let's talk about what's going on in these markets today. All right, now jumping in. Again, my name's Kellam. If this is your first time here, I can guarantee it's not going to be your last time here. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell, join me on my page, and let's go ahead and dive on into it. Where are we at right now with Bitcoin? Let's go ahead and look at the chart. Getting some wiggle room right here. Well, why is this moving so much? Well, let's look at the top. Always remember, I did this on purpose. Always remember, when you see a lot of movement and you're like, oh, did something happen? Well, look at the top metrics. What time frame are you on? Let's get up here. Let's start on the daily today. And we're going to look at a little TA. Then we're going to look at a couple different news stories for context of the market. And then we're going to come back and do a lot of TA and break down the charts, the signals, the levels, the setups. That's what we're going to do here today. We can see here on the daily chart right here. This is yesterday. We had that pretty, it felt like, oh, it's breaking the level. It may be coming way down. Well, coming here on the 4 hour, we can see, coming here on the 4 hour, we can see this did break that level that I think I posted it yesterday. It was 25,690. And as soon as we broke that level, we got a quick wick to the downside. But what's really interesting here, we turn off all these lines and stuff, we could see that currently we have a higher low here if we're looking at these two wicks. Now, if we come over here, if we look at, I just want to show you some standard, what am I trying to find? There it is. If we look at just some standard signals here, I want you to notice this right here. Option T, that goes up. Option T. Actually, where was I going from? Let's see. Oh, shout out to Alexandra G. I didn't see your super chat. Thank you so much. She said, we appreciate you, Kelly. 9K subs. That has to do with each and every one of you, to all you mods, to everybody that's here. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you beyond words that I could really express. So, yeah. So if we're looking here, if we're ignoring this wick right here, we have this lower, this is what I was looking at. We have this lower setup right here. And throughout the same period, we have the RSI is trending to the upside, which we can see right there. So we do have some base level of bullish RSI divergence here on the price. Now, the question is going to be, if we look right here, option T, we come across, we do have a little bit of a zone right here, just on a horizontal level for where price action is just getting rejected from, right in the zone. So we're kind of obviously consolidating here, but I do think there is going to be a move that's born out of this. So we're going to talk about this a lot more when we come into the TA here in just a little bit. But I want to come back out to, the 3-day. Let's go ahead and delete that line. Come out to the 3-day and notice that the money flow is just kind of, this is a check of money flow, is just kind of chopping around. The stochastics are still quite low, which means there's a lot of juice. If this does want to make a move to the upside, there's a lot of juice. But this also does not mean, because this is low, that price cannot go lower. We need to pay attention to that. We also need to make sure we are reading the signals correctly, because we can see right here, the MACD, moving average convergence divergence, is still angling to the downside. And as it stands right now, depending on where the next two candles close, this, especially the next one, will give us our leading signal, and then the secondary one, the second close will give us a further sort of idea. We can see as it stands right now, it looks like the MACD is expanding. However, with this expansion, we're starting to see with this candle that this may be starting to roll over. It's not confirmed yet. If we get this next candle starting to roll over, maybe we get this, which is showing a shift in trend. Now, again, this is looking at the 3-day chart. So we have, as it stands right now, I do think we have several days, if not more, before we get a move. But we still within that could still have these scary wicks to come down and test this level of support. But as it stands right now, looking here on the 4-hour chart, we are just trending sideways. On the 4-hour chart, look, stochastics are relatively high. This means that maybe this needs to cool off a little longer before there's any potential for a move. We'll have to see. Is there going to be a news catalyst? Is there going to be, there's a lot of things on the horizon. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's going on. Well, first things first, everybody's talking about the Binance issues, the Binance FUD, the Binance, is it true? Is it fake? George from Cryptos RS had a pretty good stream last night where he was talking about a little bit of the, I don't want to call it embellishment, a little bit of the sort of overweighting of some of the statements that have been made, but there's the facts are still here. If we scroll down here, I have something highlighted right here. Zhao, which is CZ, Changpeng Zhao, I think his name is, or something to that effect. CZ, CEO of Binance, sells Bitcoin from wallet, and here's a wallet address, for Tether TUSD stablecoins. He then purchases BNB from that, thereby maintaining the price of the Binance native token. At the same time, Marty Party also believes that U.S. regulators are allegedly trying to squeeze Zhao out of the crypto industry. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because this is actually something I didn't really put two and two together until I read this, which I think is kind of interesting. Everybody remembers FTX. And there's a lot of different people out there. I know Dylan LeClaire has been making a lot of statements on this as well. There's some of the same things, and it doesn't mean it has to be. Correlations do not make things absolutely true. There's a lot more ice cream sold in the summer, and there's also more murder. So is the correlation that if more ice cream causes murder? No, that's not. You can't look at correlations that way. But when the evidence starts stacking up towards a certain thing, it makes you at least consider the risk management of where you're holding your coins. If you have 100% of all your crypto on Binance, maybe it's time to make sure that this is a good indication that you should be diversifying. Same thing with Coinbase. If you have all your coins on Coinbase, all of them, you have none of them in a private wallet, you don't have them split up between different exchanges for the assets you do have on exchange, then again, you're giving yourself a single point of failure if there's any issue. Now, let's go ahead and read this. There is a reason BNB has not dropped below 212, and it did. It went down to like 200 and then came back up yesterday. Binance has a BNB-backed loan liquidating at 212, down from 220 after margin was added in June. Rationale: CZ is in self-preservation mode, selling Bitcoin from that wallet to Tether USD to save his exchange from a fatal margin call. U.S. regulators are selling down the U.S. Marshals holdings to force liquidate BNB loan to drive CZ out of the industry. Well, this is interesting. Why would the regulators be doing that? Well, let's kind of scroll down here. I'm going to also acknowledge that part of this is a little bit of speculation because I have not dove deep on this. This is just a collection of a lot of different things I'm seeing, and this was sort of the best written version of that. So I'm just presenting it to you because there's a lot of people in the market that are considering this right now. Binance, so recall that in 2023, Binance faced unprecedented regulatory pressure due to the regulatory actions. The Binance USD stablecoins issuer stopped the coins minting. Okay. Binance itself, meanwhile, has fallen into the crosshairs. This is the important part of the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, has filed lawsuit against the crypto exchange. Now, this is where it gets interesting that I did not really put two and two together. Earlier, there was a theory that Binance's problems were payback for the collapse of the once one of the largest crypto exchanges, FTX. Zhao's tip triggered the crisis that eventually led to the demise of the trading platform. Why would the regulators care about that? Why would government care about that? The gist of the theory is that the collapse of FTX caused American politicians to lose their funding source, allegedly to get back at Zhao. Regulators set their sights on Binance. Now, what I want to point out here is that while we could tie a correlation here, there could be some of this that is potentially part of the ingredients of the setup with what's going on there. But I in no way think that he has a target on his back primarily because they shut down FTX, and FTX was providing a lot of funding for politicians. In reality, I think it's more tied. I think, honestly, I really do think it's more tied to the broad ignorance about the crypto industry. And, I was even talking to my mother a while back. I mean, this was months ago, earlier this year, right after the FTX collapse. And she goes, are you still in Bitcoin? Are you getting out because of the scam? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, FTX collapsed. So, Bitcoin's a scam. And then about 3 months later, we had the cascading failures of the banks and the banking system. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, are you getting out of the dollar? She said, what do you mean? I said, well, the banks are collapsing, so the dollar's a scam. So people are not putting two and two together that, if you have a car dealership and you have a shitty, owner of the car dealership and he does something bad, it doesn't mean cars are bad. It's two entirely different things. And I think the government and politicians, I think the target that's on Binance's back right now has less to do with them being mad that he, triggered the collapse of FTX and that made them lose funding. I think it more to do with the broad ignorance of the American populace and also the fact that the big banks have a lot of funding and a lot of interest and financial interest and different assets and industries and niche, equity markets. There's a lot of threat that has been that has been felt from those in regards to Bitcoin and DeFi potentially displacing a lot of their services, a lot of their income, a lot of their profits, usurping them because it's better. Blockchain and Bitcoin and the transparency and the speed, it's better. There's a shitload, and I have to use a couple words here, and I apologize for anybody that we do try to keep it family friendly, but I try to keep my words to at least things that can be said on live on TV, right? But there's a lot of things that still need to improve within Bitcoin and blockchain. Yes. And Gary Cardone, really absolutely, I mean, one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to. He's been in markets for 20, 30 years. And he made a good point. He goes, one of the biggest not drawbacks, but one of the larger issues that the crypto market has faced is the volatility has provided a huge amount of opportunity to make money. And when you have a huge amount of opportunity to make money, it brings in bad actors. And we've not done a good job as you, as me, as all of us in doing diligence on different assets. So we do see some pump and dumps, scam coins. We do see issues like FTX. And FTX was a broader one because that actually highlighted the issues also with the SEC. He met with them two or three times. He was on the cover of Time magazine. Like, it wasn't just retail, it was everybody. But in crypto itself, there's been a broad array and regular different issues because we've moved so fast that we didn't prove some of the technology. That's why we see sometimes hacks with bridges. That's why this is why it's also important to have very healthy diversification within your portfolio, because although you might like this coin, whatever this coin is, and you've made some money on it. Maybe you bought it, whatever we're making up a coin. Let's call it Canteen coin. Okay. Say you bought Canteen coin at 5 cents and it goes up to $1. Make a lot of money. But then you're like, okay, it pulls back a little bit. You add some, then it goes up to $1.25, pulls back to $1, and you add some more. And along the way, there's developments and improvements and evolutions within their technology. They create bridges. They do this. And then there's some sort of issue because it's not, ultimately stress tested enough. And then there's a huge hack on that chain, or it gets shut down by regulators. And where you once had, let's say your profits went up to $300,000 and all of a sudden you have nothing. And this has happened time and time again with a broader way of, especially further you go down the list. But this has also happened with Luna, which was in the top 10. This is, while I'm so bullish on everything going on within the crypto market, it doesn't mean because you're a bull that you don't need to do diligence. You need to do due diligence. You need to do diligence. A lot of do's there. So that being said, regardless of what's going on with why, I don't care. I don't care why there's any sort of focus on Binance in terms on CZ in terms of regulators. I don't care if it's because of FTX or if it's because there's a little bit of a pushback from the government officials because they saw what happened to FTX. And now that was an opportunity to then have a license, public license to go and put more scrutiny on exchanges. In a way, we need a little bit more of that scrutiny to make sure that we don't have those sorts of issues again. So it's a double-edged sword, and we all need to be aware of that. So let's go ahead and move on. We're going to be getting to some TA here shortly. One of the things I wanted to point out here is this right here. This is interesting chart. What are the 3 assets most correlated with Bitcoin? Now, coming here, looking at this this article, why do we care about this if we're only, for instance, let's say you're only investing in Bitcoin and digital assets, you have nothing in traditional finance. Doesn't matter. You need to look at broader signals so that you can get the edge that you need to make it in this market. Yes, you can trade on just straight technical analysis. You can. And using indicators. However, I will argue if you want to have an edge in this market, you need to make sure that you have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the market and the things that are also around the market, because you get leading signals and you'll also get lagging signals between technical analysis, indicators, and then also broader assets that are tied into and correlated in some capacity with the asset that you're interested in trading. For instance, if you're trading Ethereum, you have a pretty good idea what's going on with Bitcoin. So why then, if you're trading Bitcoin, are we not more interested in looking at things that are broadly associated with them or tied in with them to give us a little bit of signal? Because think about it. If we scroll down here, we can see, I'm guessing you all know what some of these assets are. One of them, most definitely, is MicroStrategy, MSTR. We also have Riot, which is a mining company. We also have Coin, which is Coinbase. But if you have price moving very quickly to the upside on Bitcoin and you start seeing MicroStrategy selling off, that may be an indication that there could be some pressures that are coming to Bitcoin. If you see Riot selling off dramatically, that could mean that there's going to be probably relatively quickly some sort of, remind me later, sorry, I had an error pop up on my screen. So we want to pay attention to these. Now, if we scroll down here, we can see, and I want you all to notice this. It says this is the Bitcoin holdings by public companies. And I want you to notice a key word there, and that's the word public. This is not a list of the companies broadly public and private, because there are private people, there are private companies that are not publicly traded that we may have no idea what their balances are. But then there's also, there's a lot. If we scroll down this list, I want you to pay attention. I want you to notice how much. Okay, I can speak. I'm being typed. So this is not what I look. Here we are. Bitcoin treasuries. Bitcoin holdings in publicly traded and private companies. Look at this. We got MicroStrategy, 152,800 Bitcoin. Marathon, 12,900. Tesla, 10,725. Everybody thought that they sold them because of that FUD article. There's still not data that, unless I'm wrong, there's still not data that shows that they have sold them. Somebody pulled some blurb from a letter that was written on accounting, and they assumed that it meant a full sale. Maybe that's changed. I don't know, but this is interesting. Look, Coinbase only has 9,000. Coinbase only has 9,000 Bitcoin. Scroll down here. Let's scroll down here. We got NFT investments. I've never even heard of this. CleanSpark, Exodus Movement, Nexon, Voyager. Can't believe Voyager still has all that. But we can see, look at this. USA has 207,000. China has 194,000. Ukraine has 46,000 Bitcoin. El Salvador, 2.3 thousand. Finland. Now, think about how big this is comparatively with the size of this country, El Salvador, and in terms of, like, especially when you compare the rest of the countries in the world. This is the list of countries and governments that own Bitcoin. El Salvador is 1, 2, 3, 4th down. This is going to make a big difference to them in the next 10 years. Georgia, not the state, but the country, 66 Bitcoin, a whole 66 Bitcoin. And look at that, 66 Bitcoins, $1.7 million. Now, private companies. These are all Massachusetts Mutual, Mass Mutual. You have 3,500 Bitcoin. Stone Ridge, 10,000 Bitcoin. And then the rest are primarily crypto companies. Lisk Foundation, I don't know what CT is either. 1,170. Then we got ETFs. Look at all these different ETFs. Things, I mean, there's so much on the horizon. And when we come over here, we can find some companies that do hold them, and they have them in large enough amounts, especially respective to their market cap and what their other offerings are, their different profit and capital streams, in their businesses. And we can see that we have the crypto specific stocks, Coin, Riot, and Master. And then we can also scroll down here. We also see there's something else I wanted to show you. Oh, this crypto and commodities correlation heat map. So this is interesting because you can see one means it's moving exactly in parity with Bitcoin. And look at this. We can see oil only has a 0.24. So if you're wondering if oil is a good metric of what's going on with, price action movement in Bitcoin, well, oil's the lowest, it's relatively low here. It's about right here on this graph. We got gas, I think about the lowest. Gas, gold kind of, yeah. It's just really interesting. Really interesting to look at all this data. I just wanted to bring this up to you guys. Now, looking over here at Cardano, we got to talk about some Cardano news. Cardano's, I almost said Cardano Hoskinson. Cardano's Hoskinson says SEC not coming after ADA, but here's some interesting things he said here that I just wanted to highlight. It's a very brief thing, but then there's still pretty large risk on the table, and that's here. Against the backdrop of growing concerns and rumors surrounding the U.S. Securities Exchange, increased scrutiny of cryptocurrency space, Cardano's founder Charles Hoskinson downplayed the severity of the predicament. Now, we have to realize that Charles Hoskinson has a huge vested interest in what happens with Cardano. And in some ways, he's not the leader because it is, decentralized organization or decentralized asset, but in many ways, he is the leader of Cardano, and people look to him for that. And so, in times right now where the assets have kind of had a foot on their throats, especially with Cardano being listed as a security from the SEC and those allegations against Coinbase, people are looking to him for a little bit of positivity within this asset. So, scrolling down here, I just want you to weigh that against why he's saying this, because he may think this, but it may not hold water in terms of what the SEC does. He says, during the interview, Hoskinson sought to clarify SEC's stance on Cardano, emphasizing it's very important to be accurate with our language. There's no coming after Cardano. Now, while I agree with this, Cardano was released in Japan, so it was not initially offered in the US. The way it was offered as well was, there's many different reasons why I truly believe, not just because I own Cardano as well, but just based on a lot of different principles that make up what a security is. I do not believe Cardano is a security, but that doesn't mean Gary Gensler has 3 brain cells in his head to understand this, or maybe he has many brain cells, but he's being basically pushed into the direction of suppressing certain asset classes, whether it's different parts of the crypto industry, different whatever. This comment comes after some speculation that the SEC labeled Cardano's ADA token as a security, but Hoskinson reiterated that there's been no enforcement event against the token. As reported by You Today, Coinbase's CEO, Brian Armstrong, recently hinted at the possibility of delisting several tokens, including Cardano's ADA, due to ongoing lawsuit by the SEC. Now, I do think there's a likelihood that Cardano could be delisted from Coinbase, but I think it's a smaller one. I do think it's a smaller possibility. I think I'd put it in the 20% range. I do think that that Coinbase and their CEO, not the CEO, well, the CEO as well, but their chief legal advisor, they're making a very concerted and smart effort towards the SEC, and I think, my estimation, and I'm not a lawyer, but my estimation also, a lot of law is social politics. It's social politics also in the way things are presented and what the idea about what it could mean. So I think that by delisting Cardano, there's 2 different possibilities there. If they were to delist Cardano on the negative side in terms of for their case with the SEC, that could, potentially admit some, not wrongdoing, but it just wouldn't be a step towards their hard stance of these are not securities. Let's fight this. On the other hand, if they have a deal on the table and, especially with the fact that they're going to be custodians for the Bitcoin for BlackRock, if the spot ETF goes through, I think there's going to be some pressures on Coinbase in a number of different directions in terms of the biggest business that they would ever. I mean, if the spot ETF gets approved, think about it. Yes, I want to hold Bitcoin, but if there's a traditional asset I would want to hold, is if the Bitcoin spot ETF got approved, I would want to be holding Coinbase because they're going to be the custodians of the Bitcoin for BlackRock. So the association there and the capital flow, the profits that would come from that would be astronomical. It would be a game changer for Coinbase. So do I think it's going to be delisted on Coinbase? If I had to bet, no, but the possibility is still there. And that's why when we come over here and we look at these markets, that's why you see, if we come, let's go to ADA, BTC. That's why when you come over here and you look at this, let's go to the 3-day. Let's go back over here to the BitLab. There we go. This is a Cardano to Bitcoin chart. Still in a bear market. See this? This is not broken out. This is still falling. Now this is a bit of a falling wedge. We had a falling wedge here. We broke out bearishly out of this. We have another one right here that has, we could come all the way down here into this zone down here, which would be a fall relative to Bitcoin. Sorry about that. My screen was not up. Sorry about that. Screen up now. Sorry about that, guys. Doing too many things here. One-man show. We can see, I'm getting all the dings in my ear. I know, guys. So we can see the falling wedge here. If we fell and found the support down here, and notice this would be a fall against Bitcoin, not even against US dollars. If we fell down here, that'd be a 22% drawdown in Cardano against Bitcoin. So this is why when we're talking about investing in this space and trading in this space, understand what your time horizon is and stick to it if you believe in the asset and the fundamentals don't change, and your diligence and awareness of what's going on in the space doesn't give you new information that makes you change it. New information is not hope or fear. New information is all of a sudden they decide to print a bunch more of a coin, or all of a sudden they're going to do coin burns, or there's going to be large unlocks that you did not know about that you just learned about in terms of, token unlocks on a particular asset. But knowing that Cardano potentially could be falling down into these levels, especially if any more, detrimental news comes out in regards to SEC and Coinbase and all these things and securities and all the things that are just putting the foot on the throat of these assets currently that aren't Bitcoin. This is why it's important to have a diversified portfolio, and having a heavily weighted Bitcoin and Ethereum portfolio, and then allocating certain percentages of your portfolio to different sectors of the market, gaming coins, other layer 2 solutions, layer 1 or layer 2 solutions that also have large NFT rails on them, meaning they have a lot of development of different NFT platforms or dApps or TVL. You want to look at different sectors of the market that are attacking different things, and weight your portfolio between these things so you can take advantage of the safety of the lower risk with the larger market cap coins, while also having exposure to the higher risk stuff. So I think that was just while I was making there we go. Let's go ahead and jump in. I think it's time to do some TA. First thing I wanted to start with right here is coming back over to my screen. Have you hit the like button? Have you hit that subscribe button? Have you ding the bell? We're giving away 3 giveaways today. We're giving away the BitLab Pro for 3 months. We're giving away also 2 of the BitLab Trading Stack Indicators for 3-month free memberships. So in order to get involved with that, we're going to be drawing this at the end of the show. Make sure you come over here to the BitLab Academy page on Twitter here at Academy BitLab. The link is at the very top. It's pinned at the top. Make sure you're following us here. Hit this retweet, hit this like button. We are going to be drawing. I'm going to more heavily weight today's. We're going to draw from this one for the BitLab Pro. And then we're going to draw from Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and today for the other 2 BitLab trading stacks. So this is how you basically enter to win. Come here. Follow at Academy BitLab, hit that retweet, hit that like button. We're going to be drawing at the end of the show. And again, for anybody that is interested in all the indicators that I break down here on a daily basis, they are 30% off right now. So if you don't win today, after the show, head over to bitlabacademy.com and you can go right here. You come right up here into indicators. Come on. Right here to indicators. Come down to BitLab Trading Stack. And you can sign up right here. You can use Give Me 30 for 30% off the first month. That code is going to be expiring on September 1st. So let's go ahead and jump in here. What is this chart? Bitcoin. Did we really dump, or did we just test a key support that a lot of people were not aware of? Looking at it like this, we see this top is 64,000. We see this sort of retrace up here before we had the Luna collapse. See this right here. We have basically a diagonal resistance trend line that now we can extend out. Look exactly where we got rejected at right here. And look where price action came down to. Interesting that this is the level that we're on right now. Now coming over to the chart, we double click here. Let's see where that is. So on this one, we lost it. So we are in this zone with all these different lines and everything going on. This is a 3-day chart. We're getting predominantly, we're leaning more bearish with the signals we can see in the dashboard here on the right. Now, let's go ahead. What was I going to do? Oh, I wanted to mute all the lines and just look at the price action here. Now, we can see that the strength was much higher over here. Strength has been coming down. It had a little bit of a pop up, but it's lower. It's a lower high here on the RSI. What do I mean by RSI? This purple line within this BitLab trend fuel is the RSI. And we can see that we have a bit of a trend line here that has come across like this. It's rejected each time it's come up, but each one we can also see this basically lower highs on the momentum as well. And so the reason why I'm pointing this out is because as this price action progressed, there was a story in the data suggesting that there was weakness coming into this market, and we butted our heads up against this level and got rejected. And look at these yellow sort of caution candles, stopping volume on the BitLab intelligence. When you have the teal candles going up, that's high volume. And when you get the yellow candle, it's suggesting there's stopping volume. There may be a change of trend. And then we get the bearish signal. Look at that sell-off. Same thing. Bullish candle, lot of volume underlying, and then we get the yellow sort of caution candle, bearish setup. Now this ended up sort of coming down, finding support right here on the 20 moving average, this darker line within this EMA ribbon. That's the 20 moving average. Bounces on this level as well as the 20 moving average, comes up here, finds a rejection. Now, but you see, these stopping volumes are very great signals for potential take profits or potential shorts if you have the other signals that agree. Now, in this case, we had the bearish signal and we had the stopping volume, but look down here. We were not sort of tied in where we had these triangles. See this sort of trend reversal of the momentum. This is where you want to do. You get the bearish signal, and then you also get this momentum rolling over, and you get the triangle right here. The VWAP is already angled down leading into this. So one leading signal, and then we're seeing the weakness come out, and we get the triangle. That would have been the signal. You would have taken it on this candle, boom, down. Now looking over here, we didn't get that. We only got the bearish signal and the stopping volume, but we had a lot of, we still had the green candles. You see how these green bars? Still showing there's a lot of underlying volume here, so you would have discredited that. Where we're at right now, we're on the 3-day. Let's come down to the daily. Where we're sitting right now is, I'm actually going to delete this line just because it's not, we'll leave it. We're going to make it a little bit thinner. There we go. So right now, Interestingly, you see how this line it rejects right at this level, comes down. This is that larger trend line that we had drawn. Interestingly, this right here has drawn a potentiality of support and resistance for price action, which very well could happen to come in here and basically just consolidate in this area and having wicks come down and touch, getting rejected here, because we can see not only is this trend line coming right here, my drawing is crooked, that right there, we can see that it's also coming right in line with where the EMA ribbon and the 20 moving average is. So if we do get a push up, I just want to caution people that you don't jump in with greed just because the price action starts moving up. Price action starts moving up. We have a huge hurdle right here with this giant order block that you see, this orange, the reddish. See that block that's populating? That's part of the BitLab volume. It's saying that there's a cluster of orders that have been happening in this zone, and so there's a high potentiality of price action having a little bit of resistance when it comes into there. There we go. So when the price action does start moving up, if it does, because look at this, we've had this strong move down. Are we going to get a similar one move up? Because interestingly, if we look at this, I would bet, let me see what the length of this is. Look at that. If we had the move up, that would be testing the upper side, basically this resistance that's coming down. And this is that long line that we drew that is similar to this right here. So this might also not be on logarithmic. It's probably what it is. But we could see this move down, this move up. This is looking, this is looking a bit like it's forming a bit of a large symmetrical triangle here, and which is going to basically force Bitcoin to make a decision again. You know, how far into this are we going to go? The terminal point here is September 18th. So we'll have to see how this plays out. As it stands right now on the daily, we do have this trend, the momentum trend reversal here, but the VWAP is already rolling over at the zero line, which is saying there's not a lot of strength there as it pertains to the VWAP, but we do have all of this green here. It's leaning more on the daily chart here. It's leaning a little bit more bullish with all these signals being green. Where is the stochastics? I'm going to double click on this. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Double click on this and come turn on the stochastics. If any of you have the BitLab trading stack, if you open up the trend fuel down here on the bottom, if you click on this, the gear wheel, come to style, and you see all these different lines. If you want it very clean, turn off stochastic RSI and VWAP, and you can look at just the momentum waves in the money flow. And you can see the volume, you know, when you have high volume in the momentum waves, buying volumes green, high selling volumes when these bars are red, negative money flows when it's purple, positive money flows when it's blue. If you want the RSI, stochastics, and VWAP, you can turn these on individually or one at a time or whatever. But there, now we just have the stochastics and RSI on as well. But so we can see right here, this is what I was looking at. The RSI and stochastics are both reset down here very low, down below 16%. I'm looking at the number right here where my mouse is. It's down in the, you know, below 10%. This is very oversold, underbought. So this is where these signals move. You see, this has started this kind of dip down. You see this dip down right here. Look at my mouse. Sorry. We see when this dip down right here, this is when we get that strong move to the upside. Similarly right here, doesn't mean it has to happen, but we do see an attempted trend reversal as well as the stochastics and RSI reset on the bottom. We're seeing quite a bit of green. So let's go ahead and zoom in. Let's get down to the 4-hour chart. Let's see what's going on. Now, this it's still leaning in a green narrative, green bias, I should say, not a narrative, green bias. In terms of we have 3 neutral and 3 bullish. But we're also seeing, now we can see my mouse on the right. So if I go right here, I'm putting my mouse where the RSI is. I can see what level it's at. So the RSI on the 4 hours is below the 50 line. How do I know? It's because it's below 50%. It's at 48%. We want to see this get over 51% and hold above 50%. We see the stochastics right at 69%. So that's not giving us a lot of data there. It's a little neutral. Let's get down a little bit smaller, 1 hour time frame. I mean, look at this. Essentially, we have a range that we're trading right here. Bounce, rejection, rejection. Kind of overshot this, but then came up, And, you know, we're finding a little bit of resistance at this level. Look, this is a point of control. This is where all the volume is traded right here. That's what this teal line is on the BitLab volume. All these indicators that I'm showing you right now are part of the BitLab trading stack, by the way. And so we're kind of, let's see where the 4 hour is in relationship to the VWAP. We're fighting to get above the VWAP, the volume weighted average price. I think of it like the institutional money trading tool. Like you can see when the price is below the VWAP, institutions like to at least hold price or move price back towards the VWAP. And if it's very bearish, they'll take profits here and send it back down. If it's bullish, you'll send price above it and then sell at a level, let the price come back towards the VWAP and buy somewhere near the VWAP and have it then bounce off. In this case, we're bearish, we see, because we keep getting rejected, not only on the trend signal line and the dynamic resistance zone, and the 20 moving average has really been our resistance. Boom, boom, boom. Now we broke, look at this. As soon as we broke the 20 moving average, boom. And we've been consolidating sideways. We consolidated sideways so long, we consolidated through this bearish trend signal line, which is a 50 DEMA. And this is now just holding on. There's no narrative about bullish or bearish as it looks like on the 4 hour time frame, because we're sitting here right at the VWAP. Price tried to move down. It cannot break through this. There's a little bit of a bullish bias because we are above the trend signal line here. And this looks like it's trying to flip. We can see with this 50 moving average is going below this EMA that's typically under. We want to see the EMA be above the 50 moving average, which would provide us some support. But as it stands right now, things are just looking very indeterminable. Look at the volume. It's flat. Some sort of news narrative or large buy or sell event is going to move the price here relatively short. But I'm looking, if price does move up, I'm looking at very likely rejection. I'll put a bar here. Very likely rejection, or at least some take profits here at that 28.6 to 28.8 sort of zone. Because it's a very equal move to what happened on this move to the downside, and we have this direct resistance right above us. So let's see what happens there. Where do you guys think it's going to go? Do you think Bitcoin? Let me know in the comments right now, live chat, and comment down below if you're watching somewhere else, if you're watching later. Do you think Bitcoin's going to be above 26.8 by the end of the week? Or do you think we're going to be testing down here into the mid, the upper 24s, like 24.8 down to 24.6? Which one do you think is more likely? Let me know your thoughts. Now, I got to scroll back. We only got a few coins from the pre-stream listing for altcoins. So I want to make sure there's something that you want to see for sure. I try to hit any super chat that comes in if you have a coin listed to make sure that we can look at it. But currently we're going to be looking at, Cardano here in a second. We're going to look at Caspa, Crow, SUE. Was that supposed to be SUI? Karen Swigart, let me know. I don't know if I know what SUE is. Is that a coin? No, SUI. And HBAR. So let's go ahead and start first. Before we get into that, let's kind of look at Ethereum. Got an order block directly above us. These order blocks combined with these other signals and the BitLab intelligence really provide so much great signal here in the BitLab trading stack. We can see that this is getting, look at this, rejected at the 20 moving average, rejected at this dynamic resistance zone the whole way down. As soon as it breaks through it, boom, up. Rejected in the middle of this dynamic resistance zone. Comes down, finds support on top of this EMA ribbon. Comes up, and now it's just tracking this 50 moving average down. Lost this key support level. This was that sell-off we saw in Bitcoin as well. Bought right back up. We're back above. This is exactly the same as what we saw in Bitcoin. Same setup on the trend fuel. Getting dings in my ear. Okay. Thank you, Karen. Same setup on this with the signals, bullish, bullish, neutral, neutral, bullish, bullish. But look at this. This is trapped currently, waiting for a decision above this 50 moving average, which is perfectly, this trend signal line right here is perfectly on exactly where this support level is. If we lose this level, I do think we're going to not only come down and test 1580, I think we're probably going lower. If we break above this weekly VWAP, which is we can see is 1655, if we break above this, I do think we'll likely be testing this sort of zone right here, which is 1692. And if we're able to overtake this, I think the top side of this order block would be the next target, which is also the top side, basically where this range, part of this range broke down from, which is 1737. So that's what I'm seeing on Ethereum. Now note, if we do break down, first stop is, a pit stop at 1581. But if we do break down, I do think we're going to hit 1544 and likely come down to a lower level, potentially down here to 1467. Now, as it stands right now, we have a large wave, a lot of selling volume. This eclipsed, came back up, but we had no signal here for a potential buy. We did have two bullish divergences right here, which I don't know if you can see it because it's right on the line. We had two bullish divergences right here, and it's a money flow bullish divergence and demand index bullish divergence, and we got the triangle. So you could make an argument based on this movement that, and we also have the RSI reset and angled up. So you potentially could have taken this trade or an exit of a short, for instance, on this triangle here and the bullish divergences. So you got the triangle leading, and then you got the bullish divergences as a support of that move. We also see the confirmation is that stochastics reset and are moving up. So you could have taken that position here. Now, if we do come over here, we do see that we got the triangle. The triangle is right here, but we're being held under this. If we break this weekly thing, I wouldn't necessarily be taking a long here unless we got some other signals that came in. But let me see if I have, I think I might have. Let's see what's going on here. Forgot I turned off my signals. There we go. Yeah, so see how there's a shift here as well as a bullish signal. And we got the triangle, and we had the RSI and stochastics angled up. This was an absolute buy setup right here. These kind of front ran this triangle. So this is a setup, and then we get the triangle of the momentum shift. And so you would have bought somewhere about right here. That would have been a perfect setup on this indicator. Coming over right here, we didn't get any of those. We got the triangle, but we didn't get any sort of price action signal. But you could read this as having the triangle and the bullish divergences and having a higher low right here and exiting this trade at this zone. You wouldn't have got all the way down here, but you would have had more of a confirmed move. Where we're at right now, we do have the triangle. We do have the stochastics angled up, but we're still being suppressed by the weekly VWAP, and we're not getting any REV, which is these potential reversals, or the trend shift, which is a bit stronger signal than this. We're not getting any additional stuff. So I would be sort of hesitating until this sort of takes out some levels, and even in reality, taking out this level here before I got ultimately into a bullish move with Ethereum again. So that's where we're at with that. Let me kind of peek into chat. How's everybody feeling? How you doing? We got a bunch more TA to do today. We got 216 people in the room, only 156 likes. Every single one of you should be hitting that like button right now, making sure you're subscribing to the channel, joining our community. We just broke 9,000. By the way, if you're watching anywhere else over on Hit Network or anything, make sure you come watch us live, basically, and be a part of our community in our chat here at BitLab, youtube.com/@BitLab Academy. Join us here. We just broke 9,000. In a matter of 7 months. Could you believe it? We're really bringing the data here for you guys. Now let's go ahead and look at, let's go ahead and look at the next one. First one up, we're going to look at is Yuan Chain. A lot of very important people asking for Yuan Chain. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So let's look at the 3-day, because I haven't looked at this. I don't know if I've ever even looked at the chart of this. Let's get a general breakdown from more macro all the way to micro. And this is what you should do with any coin if it's new to you. I don't care if you have a general context of what the market's doing. If you're looking at a coin and you hadn't charted it yet, get the overview of what's going on with that asset. So here we go. We've got this right here. Look at this. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Look at this. Rejection kind of overshot. Bounce on the support, bounce on the support. So we know this line is valid. So that's one line. Option J. Okay, we have a bounce here, bounce here, bounce here. Now looks like we have a bit of a falling channel right here. But it also looks a little bit, it's very ugly, but it also looks like an inverted cup and handle. Which if this neckline right here broke, essentially what we would do here is take option. This is just pure technical analysis. We're not even using the indicators for this. We're going right here to that line, and that doesn't look potentially very good. This would be, that would be a pretty substantial drop. That would be, come on. That would be a 50% drop. I think this is a little bit of an aggressive thing. This looks like it's trying to bottom. So I will discount that a little bit. I don't think that's going to happen, but it is a possibility. We're going to delete that, delete this neckline. Now we're going to look at some alternative sort of looks. All right. I'm not sure what that means. It says this channel and BTC hit 10K at the same time. What, did Bitcoin hit 10K? I don't know what that comment means, Alex. So this is where I'd really be looking. If this comes down, look at this confluence right here of this diagonal previous resistance. Now it's flipped to support. First level right below us is the level of this previous low. So let's sort of zoom in on this. So this would be a little bit lower, it would be right there. So this would be, and look at this. This is looking like the momentum of the downside is starting to wane because the candles, the momentum is getting smaller in each candle and it's starting to arc over like this. This is looking like it's trying to potentially even put in a slightly higher low here. Oh, Alex, here we go. So maybe a Band-Aid. Maybe a Band-Aid super chat says, congrats on the 9K, Kelly. You deserve all the success. I appreciate all of us. We're doing this together. We're going together. I appreciate each and every one of you. And Chewy was saying that which one will get to 10K first, this channel or Bitcoin? I don't think Bitcoin's going to 10K. We'd have to have a pretty catastrophic event if that were to happen. I mean, consider the wallet has been accumulating 3 billion Bitcoin over the last few months, right? Consider the ETFs on the horizon. Consider, I think it's possible, but I think it's very, very, very unlikely for Bitcoin to drop down to 10K. So let's get down. We're on the 3-day. Let's leaning bearish on the signals here on the dashboard on the trend fuel. Coming down to the 12-hour. Let's see where we're at. Okay, we got order blocks directly above us. So at any move up, we have some resistance in these order blocks. The level right below us is not that far below us. Okay. About a 5% move down, and that level right below us would be 1650. If we do lose that level, I think this level would be somewhere that would be pretty strong to hold. This is an order block from previous price action as well as somewhere regionally near a previous low. And that would be down here at the 1380s to 1430, this range here. But if I were to guess, as long as the market doesn't fall out from under us, if the price action starts pushing up on assets, I think that we can hold in this region and then attempt higher. If Bitcoin does lose that 26,000, actually loses it and breaks down into the mid 24s, I think this is very likely to come down into this 1434 sort of range. But as it stands right now, this is looking like it's attempting to come down and tap 1660. That's what I'm seeing. If this does push up immediately above us, what are these boxes? I did not draw these on here. The BitLab Trading Stack draws these for you based on order block, order book buying clusters of large amounts. It lets you know where there's high liquidity interest. So I do think if price action does push up, first things first, we're going to be looking at potential rejection. If it's weak, very weak, and we can see it's leaning very weakly here. Potential rejection right here at the weekly view op, which is 1793. We can see with this flag right here. Again, this is part of the BitLab trading stack. If we take that out, then the next step up would be this trend signal line right here, which by the time we got there would be about 1818. And then we have this giant order block above us in the 19s. So that's what I'd be seeing on Wan Chain. Now that's on the 12-hour. Let's look more locally. How's it look? It's looking fairly neutral. Why do I say that? 2 greens, 2 neutrals, 2 reds. So they all kind of cancel each other out. However, with that being said, if things are very neutral, if you look at the trend and this trend is to the downside, then the bias is going to be bearish. So as that stands right now, this is looking like it's trying to make an attempt. We've got the triangle reversal, an attempted reversal in the trend momentum, trend direction. And we also see the stochastics trying to angle up, but the RSI is not yet following suit. I'd be keeping an eye on this. This is bouncing basically right here in this sort of regional level. We can see of these previous lows. Again, I do think that this is probably more likely than not coming down to this mid 16s and likely low 16s. That's what I'm seeing on Wan Chain. Let's go. What else were we looking at? Oh, we got to look at Cardano. We got to look at our girl, our baby girl here. How many of those of you out there are Cardano holders? Let me know in the chat. Let's kind of delete. You know what we're going to do? We're going to clean the living hell out of this chart because there's too much going on. All right. There we go. You know, it's funny. I had this drawn here. You guys notice this. You saw that, right? I had this drawn here. And if we extend this out, that's exactly where the price went to. Exactly where the price went to. So we know that happened. And this is also, look, I had this drawn before also. Previous low, price came down, tapped that liquidity, came back up. So the question is going to be here. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. There we go. So look at this, descending level of resistance. In some ways, I feel like this line could be drawn a little bit differently, like this. That feels better. Oops. Why did I do that? Because this is still getting rejected here. And this way, all the candles aren't straddling it. It actually makes more sense. They're fighting against it as resistance. And so we see that. See, barely touching, and this overshoots, and then it's less and less and less until it ultimately gets rejected. So this is looking at the 3-day. Let's come down to the 4-hour. We know what the macro is on Cardano. So here it is. What's it doing? It's attempting the VWAP. If you want the VWAP on your BitLab intelligence, it's not on there on default. All you have to do is come up here to the top left, hit the settings, scroll down. You can see VWAP settings. You turn on, turn off the weekly VWAP right there. That's where you do it. Now, if we're able to take this out, which is 26.2, and we're at that level right now, we are literally testing. We had and this is why you don't trade just when you get a wick past something. Look, we got the wick past, and it's gotten suppressed back down below it. So much like what we were seeing on Bitcoin and Ethereum, price action is directly between this whole dynamic support and resistance zone, this trend signal line, the 50 moving average. And it's basically trapped between that and the VWAP right now. It's trying to decide what direction has the upper hand. Now we do see the EMA ribbon is so compressed, but it's trying to flip over the trend signal line here. We're seeing flat volume, but we do see, what do we see? We see a bullish divergence here. If we look at these candle bodies, down, we look at this right here, up. So we're seeing a little bullish divergence on the momentum. We do have a wick down here, so somewhat discredits it, but we still see an increase. The momentum to the downside. Think of this as momentum to the downside. This had less strength, underlying strength. This had a lot less underlying strength to the downside, yet price went lower here in terms of candle bodies. And we got this. You see this triangle right here? These triangles are showing that the momentum is switching course. Now this diamond that you can see right here, it's a lot less visible. We might make them a little bit brighter. A lot less visible. It's the same thing as these triangles, except it's when you see this, there's a line, there's a line on these charts. One's right here, option H. There's another one right here. You'll see it on yours when you have it. When these momentum waves are beyond this signal is when you get the triangles. When they don't yet quite make it past this, it's still a signal, but you get this semi-transparent diamond. These are just a lot stronger, which is why we make them brighter and more visible. Now on this one, what do we see here? We also see the RSI and stochastics rebounding right here, front running this signal right here, which happened just a little bit after that move. But what this is showing is, look at all of this green here on the signals. This is showing that an attempt is trying to be made for Cardano right here, right now. So we have the setup. Are we going to get any of the other signals? Do I have, let me see. There we go. Okay. I would like to see, if I were a bull, I would like to see this take out not only 26.2, I'd like to see this take out this point of control line here at 26.7 and attempt somewhere up into this region, 27.4. That's if I were a bull. This would also complete, this would be more on the bullish side, because this would complete a W pattern right here with the neckline being right in the zone. And that neckline would be 27.4. We're able to take that out, then we're going to be testing up into this region up here. And then depending on the narrative of the market, this may get rejected back down, but it depends on if you're playing these swing trades or if you're just waiting for things to play out into much stronger trends. Let's see. All righty. So if I had to guess, going on the daily chart, strong bearish trend. We see this is a W pattern I was talking about. If this does, and we have higher lows here, if this does push up and take out this level, this 27.4, then I do think we're going to be attempting up here into 28. The question is going to be, what's the data and the signal saying? What's the momentum? What's the velocity? Where's the money flow? When we look at this, now looking at the money flow here, this has just been relatively negative the whole time. There's no real movement to the upside. This is this purple wave that we're looking at here. It's not doing this. You see this? This is a money flow curving, looking to cross positive. This is still negative. It's kind of an attempt, failed. Kind of an attempt, failed. We see this coming down. So this is a little concerning. We see this somewhat coming out while this is trying to clip up. There's conflicting signals, which doesn't make an indicator wrong. It's saying that there's not a concerted grouping of agreeable data from the traders themselves saying that the probabilities are moving towards this direction. So as is this case, if we do come down and test 25.5 again and lose that, I do think we're coming back to 24 and potentially lower. So that's what I'm seeing on Cardano. Now let's go to 220 people in the house, 183 likes. Everybody hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that bell. And just a reminder, we're giving away we're giving away one BitLab Pro 3-month membership. We're giving away 2 BitLab Trading Stack memberships. The Pro has the indicators and the courses and the premium Discord. The Trading Stack has the BitLab section of the Discord, as well as all the indicators. And in order to be entered for that, come over to the BitLab Academy page here. It's linked in the pinned comment at the very top where it says 9K subs, 3 giveaways. Click on that. You'll see the link. Come in, hit that retweet, hit this like button. We're giving away here in about 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. How you doing? I think we, yeah.
Oh.
What up?
I was going to say, are we going to leave today? Me and Frank, turn off.
I was going to turn the camera.
No. Oh, you're turning the camera back here? Frank, come over here. Come on. Let's have business. Okay. Whoa. This is the freaking Tres Amigos right here.
Hola. You know, it's a 3 amigos. It's uno, mucho, muchacho.
Ah, sí. Es muy muchacho. In the end.
Hey, we hit 9K subs overnight.
Oh, 900. 900. Ay de mí. Let's have business meeting here real quick. Me and Frank were talking about that the 3 of us, we should start having a meeting, like maybe once a week, maybe once a month. We kind of combine our trading strategies. We become like a super team.
The trading Tres Amigos?
Dude.
Yes.
See. Yes.
So we're gonna do
let's
that.
do it.
So we're gonna get back next week. We're gonna start like having a meeting.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Business meetings here on BitLab.
That's how we do it, guys.
Crew.
Hasta pasta.
Hey,
Gracias, senor.
shout out. Well, special shout out to Ben. He's the main supporter of all this, but also shout out to Frankie Candles. giving us that push over the top last night on his live stream, getting those last the last little bit over that 9K mark.
Nobody knows how to push better than Frank.
I can't deny that. Sponsor, congrats, bro.
Big love, everybody. So, pardon the wonderful interruption there. Getting back to the game here. They messed up my mic. There we go. All right, back to business. That was completely unexpected, but yeah, everybody in the chat right now. You know what? We're gonna give away 4 because I'm vibing today. So this is 4 opportunities. Okay, we're gonna give away 2 BitLab Pros and 2 BitLab Trading Stack. And remember, the BitLab Pro has access to the trading stack as well. All you got to do is come over to today's posting right here. I'm going to put it in the comments again. Follow us on Twitter. Hit that like button. Hit the retweet. We basically draw from the people that are subbed and liked and retweeted. And we're going to be giving away 4 here in about 5 minutes. So we're not going to be able to do as many of those altcoins now that we just had that business meeting with all of you guys. Love you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Fun stream. I'm just so stoked that we made it over 9,000 in 7 months. Man, I know YouTubers that are on, like I said, for 2 years, they got 2,000, and then something happens and they pop. So I'm elated that we could do this all together. Let's do a little bit more TA, and then we're gonna be jumping in, giving all those giveaways. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Ding the bell. If you like what we're doing here at BitLab, definitely make sure to tune in. We're here twice a day, 10 a.m. in the morning, 3 p.m. in the evening, Eastern time. And we have those really big interviews we're doing on Saturdays. So let's go ahead and continue looking. We talked about it. We talked about Cardano. I know somebody wanted Caspa. I'm just going to do this from memory because we're kind of short on time. Let's look at a different Caspa. Okay, BitGet. Here we go. It looks like it's up and away, but this is, I mean, look at this. We got the bearish signal right here, front running. It doesn't mean you don't, I mean, you could do it if you want, but it's always good to stack probabilities in your favor. So we have the bearish signal here, but we still have the stochastics angled up. We still have positive money flow, and we have the momentum expanding to the upside. We got the stopping volume here. This is letting me know something's likely coming. So we see the price action push up higher. On the next candle, we get this triangle. So then on the candle closure after that, I would be taking that trade. This is letting me know that setup's coming. This is letting me know it's confirmed. And we also see that the stochastics have topped out right here and are moving down. So I would have taken that trade to the downside. Boom. Now, in addition to that, if we're just looking at traditional TA, we've got a bit of a head and shoulders right here. This is telling me that not only do we get this bearish signal, we have this bearish rollover. We have this little bit of a move here. And so what we would do is we take this measurement from the top of the head to the neckline, and look, where does that go? It projects right here to this previous top. So this is telling me that the Caspa, although look at all of these order blocks that we have directly below the price action right here, this one right here. And so if we do have a potentiality of the price action coming in here and rebounding up if the narrative of the market or positive news on Caspa comes out. But we can see that the likelihood here, that's actually, I misdrew that. Look at that. When you go from the line, the target goes directly to this level down here to 2.75. So take note of that. That's on the daily. What does it look like on the 4 hour? 4 hour. Look at this. Moved up, broke past the weekly VWAP, came down, bounced on it. It's finding support on it. Once it loses it, finds rejection. Rejection comes down. VWAP's way up here. Could we get a bounce here? We very well could. As it stands, the momentum's to the downside. Stochastics are getting low. They're not quite rounding yet, but they're starting to. RSI is being rejected, so the move is not yet looking like it's going to happen. We're leaning a little bearish here. We have 2 bullish signals and Gesundheit, and 3 bearish signals. 1, 2, 3. So this is leaning a little bearish, and this is in a downtrend, remember. So if this cannot get past a little bit past 4 cents, then this is looking like it's going to be rejected here and lose this and break down. Somebody said, I think they said Quant was one of them. This has been holding right at around the 100. This kind of reminds me, if we just don't look at the price action preceding this reminds me of what Bitcoin did. It was consolidating sideways, it had a drop, and then it consolidated sideways at a lower level, but then it had a major drop. So if that were to happen, would that be coming down here into the low 90s? I could see that potentiality happening. I mean, I didn't even see this. Let's go ahead and take a look at all that red. Bam. This is on the 4-hour chart. Look at all these red signals. This is suggesting some bearishness. Suggesting some bearishness coming in for quant. We are under the point of control. Let's see what we look like on the daily. Bounced right in these order blocks. I'm telling you, these order blocks, I'm telling you guys, we're under this. Yeah, this is telling me that it's likely going to test down to 95. And if we can't hold that, then we're coming down here into the low 90s. All right, so I got to go back off the screen. It's time to have every one of you hit the like button. Have every one of you hit that subscribe button. We're about to draw the names, and this is going to be for all of you that I love and hold so dear. Let's go ahead and pull up the comment picker. Make sure you head over to that link, comment picker. Random comment picker. There we go. And spinning wheel. Picker wheel. There we go. All right. So we're doing Saturday. Let's do today's first. Let's do we'll do the 2 BitLab Pros last. We'll do the two BitLab trading stacks, and that's for Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday. What's up? That's right here. The Mafia man came back in. All right, so let's go ahead and see what this is for the 2 BitLab. We're gonna do 2 different drawings for the BitLab trading stack, and then we're gonna do 2 different drawings for the you know what I'm talking about, the Pro. So here we go. Actually, I need to come over here. Go to where's comment picker, random name picker. So much to all this. These guys threw me off my course, but it's okay. It's totally okay. Close. Now come down here. No. Twitter picker. Log in with Twitter. All right, authorize app. Now here we go. This is for the 2 BitLab trading stacks. I love each and every one of you. Thank you all for being here. We're doing this together. Monday. Who's going to be the winner of the first BitLab trading stack? Let's head back over to BitLab. And it was Monday. Monday was 23rd, 22nd, 21st. All right. So that would be right here. So we had 2. So this is what we're going to do. Monday, the first one's going to be the morning stream that we're going to draw from. The second one's going to be the afternoon stream. So, wait, did I do? No, we're just going to have to do both from this. Yeah. All right. Copy link to post. I don't think I posted the afternoon stream on the Twitterverse. So this is going to be 2, and remove. Okay. Number of winners is going to be 2 winners. We're going to do this. I have to do it twice. All right. Show, remove. Okay. Get the data. 33. All right. Here's the first one. This is for the BitLab trading stack. 3 months membership. Mikos Dad 14. Mods, keep a list of these and then send them to me after the stream. That's the first one. Now pick another winner. Bam. BitLab Gmang C15. C17, I mean, I can't read. All right, now this is going to be from today's. I'm just going to draw it from today's. We don't need a spinning wheel for this. This is going to be for the 2 BitLab Pros. Let's see. We got 51 people in here sharing it. I'll give you another second if you haven't shared it yet. Ding, 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 ding. Let's go ahead and get in here. All right. We're sharing it right here. Now we're getting the data. 46. You know what that means? That means some of you didn't like. You have to retweet and like. So I'm going to give you a second. I'm going to give you 22 seconds. get in there. Head over to the BitLab Academy page on this tweet from today. Oh, nope, that's not today's tweet. This tweet from today right here. Make sure you hit that like button, this heart, hit the retweet. Make sure you're following. Is this the one that I drew from? Let me just make sure. All right. 2 BitLab Pro accounts, 3 months. Let's see what you got. All right, here it is. Ging, 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 ging. Steve Hoppy, what's up? Congratulations, brother. You got 3 months of the BitLab Pro. That gives you access. BitLab Pro gives you access to all the courses, all the premium Discord, as well as the BitLab Trading Stack. And just to shout this out, I forgot to do this early in the stream. In the BitLab Premium Discord, we have this, what do you call it? The BitLab Indicators section. If you just have the indicators, this is all you have. But the BitLab Premium has all these different chart discussions, calls, setups. We had a trading competition from 1 to 10,000 in here. There's so much that goes on in these different inside the BitLab Premium Discord, which you get as an all access member or a BitLab Pro member. But with the BitLab indicators, you're just getting access to the indicator section of that area. Now, who is going to be the secondary winner here? Let's go, boom, pick another winner. And by the way, while this is loading up, you can still use Give Me 30 for 30% off everything in BitLab Academy. You can go to BitLab Pro and get 30% off your first month. And remember, BitLab Pro is already about 30% off every month after that. But you can get 30% off extra on your first month. You can also get 30% off the BitLab Trading Stack. You can also get 30% off the BitLab All Access. And what you do is you head over here, you click Enroll Now right here, and you can see when this loads up. We've got a lot of people on the internet here. BitLab Pro, this is where you get that. The All Access for the courses and the premium. This has a premium as well. You sign up here. If you want the indicators, you come right here to indicators, go to BitLab Trading Stack, and right here, you click on this. And on all these, every single one of these, once you put in your email address, once you proceed to billing, that's when you put in the coupon code, just so you know. So big love to everybody. Shout out. Who's the next winner? Matt Lane. Shout out to Matt Lane. I know this is Matt Lane just because of the name in conversating on Twitter. So shout out. Big love to everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, make sure you head over to BitLab Academy's YouTube page if you're watching this somewhere else. Make sure you check out bitlabacademy.com for all of the different information that you need to make sure you could dominate this space in investing and trading. We have a lot more coming to this. And again, special shout out to all you 9,000 people. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. With that, I think I got to close this out. And you know what? I hope each and every single one of you has an absolutely magnificent day. And again, I will see you at 3 p.m. here in the afternoon stream, breaking down all the TA for the day. With that, that's all I got. Adios. Adios, muchachos. Thank you for coming. Thank you for always tuning in. Hit that like button, sucker. Get your education started at bitlabacademy.com. Get those indicators. Use that coupon code, GIVEME30. Adios.